He changed the name to drop down. Come on! Always cuts me short. Anyway, I was a bit slow getting that prelude on because I think the first picture everyone got was us all looking a bit gawky, staring at the screen very quietly. Welcome, folks, to this, Remembrance Sunday today, and we'll have a little look at a couple of clubs that have done a few bits. I know most clubs have, but it is Remembrance Sunday. Welcome to the show. Got loads to get on with this week as well. Should be fun. But let's start off by saying hello to Nigel. And how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. It's been a steady week. Nothing exciting happening, but it's been all right. Enjoyed it.
Cool. Gregory?
Yeah, good, mate. Week of work, and then went to see Matt Letizia Friday night. That was very good. And football yesterday. So,
that sounded really. I mean, I've heard a little bit of the stuff you recorded. I found that very. I don't suppose you said, "Come on, you're going to come on the show, son."
I didn't even think, mate, to say. Yeah, I should have made a little comment, shouldn't I? But
I don't think.
You know what? He was a really good guy. Actually, he had time for everyone. Some really interesting stories. But he came across as just like one of them. He's fed up how he's been thrown on the bus by multiple sort of like companies, and he was just sort of where he was just like, do you know what? I'm prepared to tell anyone anything they want to hear. So. Good on him.
Yeah. So I'm trying to share. Do you know what? Every week I have a bloody nightmare because I'm on the page sharing it to my own profile show. Anyway, folks, if you could share it, we'd be very happy. So please share, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you would be so kind. Right. Share. Let's crack on. Now what we're going to go. I've got so much. Got a great bit of fun. I know what we're going to do. It's Remembrance Sunday. So just want to show you a couple of pictures that we've had sent to us. Now this one is the display at Rangers, and as you would expect, unreal. Look at that. What a display.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding. That really is. So that was the display at Rangers today. Let me see now. I've had a whole load of photos coming from Bristol Rovers. Now the thing about Bristol Rovers ground is it's called the Memorial Ground, and it is actually the gates and that are a memorial to the fallen. And I've got a couple of pictures here. So this was the scenes at the game yesterday after they'd laid the reeves and that. So that's the actual entrance. You can see the floodlight there in the background. So that's the entrance to Bristol Rovers ground. And as you can see, they are called the Memorial Gates. As you can see, it's a war memorial. So that was fantastic. But I'm going to just show you this. And I have to take my hat off to Bristol Rovers for this. So this was on the Friday, on the 11th of the 11th at 11 o'clock. I just want a big shout out to the Bristol Rovers players. You can see them in the background there. They've all got their armbands on with the poppy on the armband. All out, showing their respect. Fantastic. Really good. And listen, I know probably many clubs have done that, but I just wanted to show that on this day. But yeah, fantastic that from Bristol Rovers. And I guess did they do something at Bristol City yesterday?
We had obviously the minute silence and everything like that, and it was well respected. You know what I mean, by everyone. So yeah, it was good. It was good, and I'll be honest. I always enjoy the games over Remembrance Weekend. I think it kind of brings the fans together, doesn't it? And no, it was brilliant. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right, okay. I think we're going to start with this. So pretty much that's it. We're done. No more Championship or Premier League football for a month. I'm not sure what might be going on at the minute. Man United snatched it at the death there, didn't they, Nigel?
Yeah, last minute.
That Garnacho looks a player, I tell you. He looks a hell of a player. I watched the United Villa game midweek, and he was.
Do me a favour. Sorry, Greg, I'm completely cutting you off there. So do me a favour, will you, mate? Will you share the show onto the group page for me?
Yeah, of course, mate. Yeah, no worries.
If you wouldn't mind, because I just can't share it. But
no, that's all right. I'll get it
share it, people. So no football. So look, we got to start. Let's start with this now. I know today's rant. I'm gonna rant about the World Cup, guys. I'm sorry. I have got the most ridiculous video. I may not wait to the end for this because what I am going to show you is going to blow you away, and everyone who watches this will be blown away. Right. And I know, Nigel, you've got some stuff to bring up as well that you were talking to me about the other day. We've got to mention that as well, mate. But before we do that, so he's announced the England squad. And I guess I really wanted to. I mean, we put this up. You got Maddison in, Wilson in, Gallagher in, Rashford in, Tony. Now, look at yesterday. He scores a brace at Man City. I didn't see the game, but I have heard that he played outstanding. Is this going to be a real big boo-boo by Southgate? And there's probably a couple more in there and all. I mean, I don't understand why certain players who haven't played this season or are not in form are going. But Ivan Toney, mate, what he did yesterday, I mean, the shock of the season, that game, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so much uproar about him not picking Maddison, and everyone's sort of getting on his back. I think he's had to pick Maddison. I think if Tony had the same support of the public, he'd be on the plane. I mean, the guy's a genius at penalties, and he's on form. And Southgate again is just going against everything he's saying about he's going to pick players that are on form, and he ain't doing it. So he's just contradicting himself all the time. And I think, he's only picked Maddison because of the pressure that he's been getting off everybody. And we do well in a cup. Maddison would probably end up being one of the stars, I would imagine.
Yeah. I mean,
I think what it is as well.
Sorry, mate.
I think what it is as well, mate, is obviously if Harry Kane obviously is fit, then no matter who he calls up, they're not really going to get a look in anyway, because we know how Southgate plays. Rarely plays two up front or anything like that. In terms of obviously picking Wilson over Tony, I guess you can argue that they're both in form, but I would have gone for Tony out of the two. But the thing with Callum Wilson, I don't think anyone would be shocked if he gets injured, because he's so injury prone. And then if he gets injured midway through the tournament, before you know it, you're left with very few options, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? And but saying that, Southgate's the sort of manager that if anything happened to Harry Kane, he'd probably play a false nine anyway. He probably wouldn't even play another striker up there. So
yeah, no, absolutely. So I guess he has come in for some criticism. I mean, Maguire. Everyone's obviously kicking about that. Maguire could go out and have a cracking World Cup. I don't know.
You're on about the fact that he only plays one up front, correct? You're exactly right on that. But surely this is where we're saying Southgate hasn't got a plan B. He's just got a plan A. And if plan A don't work, where's he go? Why plan B should be stick a couple of forwards on. Stick the extra forward on if we need a goal. Where's the plan B coming from? That's the negative thing about him. He's got his way of playing, and if you don't fit into that way of his playing, you don't get in that side. And plus, if you're not playing for one of the glamour sides, you don't get in.
Yeah.
Tony was at Man United or Liverpool, he'd have been in that squad.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I went back to say that I went to see Letitia on Friday night. Obviously, he was asked about the squad. And he said that his biggest bugbear was the fact that Calvin Phillips has been picked. He's played 50 minutes of football all season. And he went, and I'm telling you right now, he said the only reason he's in that squad is because he plays for Man City. He said if he had played 50 minutes for Leeds and he was still at Leeds, he said he'd be nowhere near that squad. No. And I think so. You've got the contradictory side of it, of obviously the big club mentality players and all this, and the picks and things like that. It's really weird. And just another point on the World Cup as well. I was at football yesterday, and you're chatting to everyone in the pub and that about, you're looking forward to the World Cup. Not one person said yes to me. Everyone was just like, don't really care, to be honest with you. It's so, amongst fans, just no one can be bothered. It's really weird. Yeah.
I didn't even realise we're only 2 weeks away from it, to be honest. Like I said, there's been no
this time next week.
There's no excitement about it, is it? When it starts, you'll probably watch it. But, there's no sort of anticipation of I can't wait for it. Like in the summer, you go away, you try and book your holiday, so you're abroad for the 2 weeks and you can sit in a bar with your shorts on with a pint in your hand and watch the World Cup. It's just, there don't seem that excitement about it at the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of pints,
go for it.
So sitting abroad in Europe having a pint will probably cost you like £3. It was in the papers the other day that there's a hotel called the Marriott Hotel near one of the grounds, and obviously over there, I think you can only go into hotels to drink alcohol in the bars in there, and they're saying in there for the qualifying rounds, you have to buy 3 drinks minimum. You get 3 tickets, and for then 3 tickets are going to cost you £48. So it's going to be £16 a drink. You get 3 tickets, all right? When it goes to the quarterfinals and semi-finals, it will then go up to something like £100 for the 3 tickets, which will be about £33 a drink. And then when it goes to the final, if you go in that hotel, you've got to pay £240 for 3 drinks. That's £80 a ticket. How bad is that? And they're trying to say it's not a money-making scheme having the World Cup over there. Ridiculous.
Oh, mate.
The thing is, as well, I saw something else earlier about drinks. Yeah, I saw something else earlier about drinks, and they said that at the fan zones, it's basically Budweiser that they're selling. I think that they're importing over for it. And a bottle of Bud will cost you 11 quid for a bottle of Bud in the fan zone.
Yeah, they're sponsoring it, aren't they, Budweiser?
Yeah. But yeah, it's £11 and a few pence for a Budweiser in the fan zone, yeah.
That cruiser definitely seems the best option now when you're looking at it. Them 3 cruise ships that are docking off the Bay of Qatar, you can drink as much as you want on there. They're not going to be charging you stupid prices. You've got all your entertainment on there. You've got your food, the lot. Might cost you a few bob, but it's looking like staying on Qatar is going to cost you a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Right, sorry about that. I'm just catching up with the comments, which I better do. Good evening, Ben Cliff. Evening, Sean Stringer. Good to see Nigel Callaghan. You Rams. Ben Cliff. I was away at Runcorn Linnets yesterday with Kidsgrove Athletic, lost 2-0, but by far the best team we've played. Nicest fans in the league as well. The memorial and things that they did before the game were absolutely superb. Witnessed perfectly by both sets of fans, despite the loss. An incredible day. Big love from both sets of fans. So well done there. Just having a little run through inning break. Don't know what that is, but there we are. Okay, got someone on there. I don't know what it's saying, but I am going to say big shout out to England and the T20 team winning the World Cup in the 100%. Early hours.
It was good, wasn't it?
Pakistan by 5 runs. Go on, well done. Someone's brought it home at long last. Other than the ladies, obviously, of course they did. Runcorn even asked some of our children's supporters to go on the pitch for the memorial
and readings, etc. as well. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I showed obviously a few clips there, but all around the grounds, and we know football clubs are big on that as well. Call up Ben Stokes. Yeah. So we've got Carl Walker, Conor Gallagher, and Calvin Phillips should be nowhere near the squad. What do you think?
Probably a bit harsh on Carl Walker, to be fair. I think he's all right. I agree. I think Conor Gallagher's probably on his Palace form. He was probably a shoe-in, but since he's got to Chelsea, he's probably taken a while to settle in. But again, I had a conversation at work about this, and I think with Southgate, I think he needs to trust players to pick them. And obviously, he's worked with Conor Gallagher through all the levels, isn't he? Like, under 17s, under 21s, and all that. And he probably looks at Gallagher as a young player who he trusts. And I think that's probably another reason why he's not picked Tony, and he probably took a while to pick Maddison because, he's not worked with them players. He probably don't trust them. So, yeah, probably a bit harsh on Walker, but yeah, I'd probably agree on the other two.
Saying Walker's only 60%.
Thing is, if he ain't got the
fit,
if he ain't got the bollocks to pick these players, he's never going to get a chance to work with them anyway, is it? So it's catch-22.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Right. Well. Yeah. We are only a few weeks away. We now no longer have any Championship and Premier League football. But folks, don't worry, because proper football is going to be more in the frame with our League One, our League Two, our National League, and all the other non-leagues through the pyramid chain. So, yeah, get behind them. Right, okay, what we got? Okay, here's a question. Do you think England can win the World Cup?
No.
You got to can you substantiate that?
What?
Can you substantiate that comment? No.
I just think we've got the wrong manager, and that's all it boils down to. We've got the players, but it's the wrong man for me. And I think, okay, the people out there that like Southgate will say, yeah, but he done this in the last Euros and he done this in the last World Cup. But the runs we had were so kind, and ultimately we ended up bottling both tournaments. We did, whether people like it or not. And I've got no faith in Southgate, and I do think the tide's turning amongst fans. Like I said yesterday in the pub, there was just a sense of negativity about the whole thing, about being in Qatar, about the squad, about Southgate as a person. I'd be amazed if we won it. To be fair, amazed.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's his only way out. I think that's his only way of keeping the job, to be honest, by winning it. I think if you don't win it, he's definitely out. They've got to get somebody else in now. So, yeah, I agree. I think, I said it last week, you had Guardiola or Klopp taking England's side. I think we'd win things with them because they play football at a faster speed. I mean, we're still in second gear. We're still in fourth gear while Liverpool and Man City are in second gear. Yeah, the way England play at the moment. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a bit like Greg. I think we'll probably get through to the quarterfinals again or the semi-finals, but I think there's going to be other countries that are better than us.
Yeah. Okay, Pigeon said semi-finals minimum. He has also, Ben has said last 8 is as far as we can go, I think. Pidge again has come up with any team can win it, but Southgate has no plan B. Something what you said, Nigel. Last 2 tournaments showed that. And James Ellis has agreed. Southgate has no plan B. So that seems to be the common theme at the moment, is that we don't believe as a manager he's got any sort of plan B, which means the minute the going gets tough, we're out the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like last minute of the game, you chuck your forwards on, don't you? But I don't think he would. You chuck your big centre forwards on there. You get the ball into the box and hope something drops here. But I think last minute of the game we'll still be passing it sideways and backways. That's the way we play.
So we've got coming up now. What we got now? Stick Tuchel there. We will win it. Bit late now, I think we're going out, and they're already getting on the plane, aren't they? So we kick off against Iran. Wouldn't that be something if we couldn't get a result against them? Now, ain't unheard of. Yeah. Now, come on, like think back, previous World Cups, many teams, the French, everyone have had that.
Was it the last World Cup when we drew with? Was it 0-0 or 1-1? We drew with a team like Tunisia, was it, or Algeria? They were in our group and we struggled, didn't we? And it was like I can't think, but I know it was one of them teams and we struggled.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I think America could be a bigger hurdle than what we think. In all honesty, you know, I heard Danny Mills saying, "Oh yeah, look, they got no hope of beating Wales. Have got no hope of beating England." Well, sorry, I disagree with that.
Yeah,
everyone's got. I really do. I think anyone. Well, as you say, anyone could win a World Cup. It's a one-off game. Do you know what I mean? It's a cup game. Let's face it. Even though the group stage is it's still a cup game because you've only got to lose that first one or that second one, and then you're really up against it.
Yeah, I agree. So, and let's be honest, Wales are not going to have anywhere near the amount of pressure that England have got. No. Depending on how the first two games go, obviously for England, you know, it could be all right, but you never know. Like I say, if you're going into that Wales game needing something, then you know suddenly it looks a bit different, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll have the bit between the teams. Wales when they play England, like there won't be no like England are a stronger team than Wales. I'll tell you what. That'll be like a Premier League side playing a Championship side in the FA Cup final. That'll be a harder match than you think it'll be.
Yeah. Well, they did better than us in the Euros, and you know we drew with them then, didn't we? I think, and they went on to do much better than us. Well, like I say, I mean, I haven't got a lot of interest in the World Cup, and my interest diminished even more. So maybe I'll do my rant now, if that's all right with you two, because I am gonna shock you, unless you've already seen what's going on, and I really mean that. But before I do, just a big shout out. I know, Greg, you went to Bristol yesterday. It's a bit of a Memorial Day for a massive England fan and Watford fan, but I know massive England fan was at every game, well known amongst the supporters of England, was Kev Norman, and it's a year ago. Is it a year ago?
I think so. Yeah, there or thereabouts. I'm not
sure. Actually, on the way to San Marino, unfortunately, in Venice,
that's right. Yeah,
lost his life. So I know you had a bit of a Memorial Day yesterday at Bristol, and obviously it's been a week since they lost Ben, as well. We lost Ben. As well. So big shout out to them in Hornet Heaven. Right, okay. Right, I'm going to show you this. So, like I say, folks, I'm going to pull my rant forward a little bit earlier today. And it goes, oh no, that ain't right, is it? I need to oh, Gary, sort your life out, mate. Right, it's Gary's rant, an early Gary's rant for the show, but it is all about the World Cup yet again. But when I show you this, you ain't gonna believe it. Didn't mean to put it on again. You don't want to see the bloody thing again. Well,
I've not seen that before.
Well, mate,
they must be rich fans if they're out there that early.
Yeah, come on, mate. There ain't an Englishman amongst them, for Christ's sakes. I don't mean that because they're not English.
No,
they are not English, right? They're being paid by Qatar, along with other countries who are having the same thing going on as well. They're being paid to be England fans. That's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen, and it's put me right off the World Cup even more now. I'm sorry, I just, as a fan, that's the biggest load of bollocks I've ever seen in my life. And that has made this World Cup the biggest joke that I've ever seen in football. And this is a proper rant, folks, because I'm fucked off with it. I really am. Jesus Christ. What the fuck was all that about? What is that? It's becoming a joke.
Money. That's what it's about.
I mean, they're paying people that ain't even bloody English, right? I mean, what was... That's why I am not having nothing to do with this World Cup. That's the biggest load of bullshit. Sorry. I just couldn't believe it. They've even got the banner at the front coming home. Where's home, mate? It's Qatar, you numpties. You know what I mean? Of course it's coming home because the World Cup's coming to you. Go back home and don't put an England top on. You're not bloody English. You don't support England. If we ask you who the bloody hell it plays for England, you'll probably say Mo Salah. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Right. Rant over. Oh, no, it's wound me up, mate. I mean, this World Cup is an embarrassing thing from start to finish. The whole bloody thing. We've known for 10 years about this World Cup, and all of a sudden everyone's pulling their agenda cards out 6 months before. 10 years you've known about it. You know, the reason I don't like the World Cup is because it's been bought. Football has been bought all across the world now. And that's why I absolutely hate modern day football. And that has just put a nail in the coffin for me, guys. Pathetic, man.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. Some people might think, oh, you're being a bit... No, if you're a proper supporter... I've got a tattoo on my leg, which is the 3 lions. Do you know what I mean? I've been to England. I've been away with them. Mate, this ain't what we're about. Jesus Christ. Oh. Anyway, right, rant over. Did piss me off, chaps. Sorry for the language as well, but
it's a bit like one of these TV sitcoms that's a football sitcom, and they pay a group of people to stand in a section of the terraces cheering.
Yeah,
and they're not even fans; they're just actors.
I mean, they're trying to say, oh, they're coming from all around the world. Fans are arriving from all around the world, and then they're showing paid prostitutes, because that's what they are. They're being paid to do it, to pretend they're England fans. What the... I mean, Jesus Christ. They're banging all them drums like, you know what I mean? At least have a set of... I was going to say bagpipes then, but we're not... Although I've been to an England game and I've seen the bagpipes out, because you get quite a few, whether they like the thing or not, you get a lot of Scots come out to watch England and all. I've seen loads and the pipes out. Oh, sorry, folks. For me, that's anyway. Okay, that's my rant. It's about the World Cup. But anyway, let's just go back to the chat room there. Okay. Thing is, when other countries look at the Brazil squad or the Argentinian squad or the French squad, you say, Jesus, that's a good squad. Other countries look at England's squad and they don't fear anything. Is that fair to say about the French squad, though? Because aren't they depleted with injuries?
Yeah, I don't think much of the French squad, to be honest. Certainly compared to the French squad of recent tournaments. Do you know what I mean? They're missing a few, but France have been there and done it, don't they? You know what I mean? They know how to do well in tournaments, and they've got a good manager. So I wouldn't write them off completely, but I think this tournament is going to be a South American winner for me. I fancy Argentina, but wouldn't be shocked if Brazil won it either, to be fair. Both got unbelievable squads.
Yeah, they've got players that can deal with the climate as well.
That's true.
Again, we asked this question a few weeks back about they've got these retracting roofs, haven't they? And if it gets too hot, they close them and put the air. So what's the actual temperature that they say, right, we've got to close the roofs and put the air? Again, none of that's been explained or anything like that. The teams might know about it, but it's I don't know, say at 80 degrees or whatever, the Brazilians and Argentinians, they're going to be used to playing in that sort of heat.
Yeah.
The English lads won't be.
Yeah. Roll on Boxing Day, lads. John Sweeney, Steve Parkin. How are you, Steve? Agree with Nigel. It's all about money. All about money. Agreed. It's bullshit. The Germans will do well as they usually do. Would you reckon?
They've got an on-off switch, the Germans. They don't matter how crap they are leading up to the World Cup. They just switch the on flick on.
A bit like France for me. Like probably not the strongest squad they've had in recent years, but they know how to do it, don't they?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't shock you, really, would it? But there's going to be one or two that will flop. Whether England will be in that one or two, I'm not sure. But then there's going to be a surprise package somewhere, aren't there? People are saying, Croatia, Denmark, teams like them. They've got some very good individual players, and
I think Belgium have got a chance. I think they've got players in that side that can change games.
Yeah,
especially with De Bruyne.
I'll tell you what about Belgium, though. A lot of people have said, a bit like with England, have they got the wrong manager? So I don't know.
They've got the wrong manager.
Yeah, maybe. They've been on the edge, haven't they? They've been there, but just haven't quite finished it off. Yeah. England don't win. If England don't win, I hope Argentina or Portugal get the final for a Messi versus Monsieur Ronaldo. Would you like to see that? Messi versus their last World Cup?
Yeah, I guess I get that. Yeah, I get that.
They've played against each other enough times now.
I've got to be honest, from a personal point of view, obviously we want England to win it, but I can't see it happening. But I'm really into my South American football, and I love watching the leagues out there and stuff. And for me, as much as England and Argentina don't really get on, I would like to see Argentina win it if England don't, just because obviously I think they've got a fantastic squad. It's not really anything to do with Messi, because I can take or leave Messi. I respect him as a great footballer, but I wouldn't say I'm obsessed by him or anything like that. But just from a football point of view, they're the team I'd like to see win it if England don't. Just
before we start talking about Belgium, Ben put up, nobody's speaking about Belgium, very good team. Then he put words right out of my mouth, Cally. Right, okay. I think, look, like I say, I don't have an interest in the World Cup. I really don't. Will I watch any of it? I've got a sneaky that I'm going to want to look at Brazil and Argentina. I just want to have a look because I've heard so much about them. I probably would. Right, so let us move to the funnies, because I've got some good funnies for you guys today, and I hope Nigel's got a story lined up. Right, let's go to the funnies. Football funnies. Here we go. It is that time where we have a bit of a funny old game, and it's football funnies. Right, okay. Let me get that off. Right, I've got a couple here now. Now, where shall I start? I'm just going to pop this one up because we've had all the chat about possible sale of Liverpool. The consortium from London have placed an offer for FSG for Liverpool Football Club.
I'll take the credit for that, Gary.
You take the credit for that. I did like it. That's why it's on here. I had to put it up. That's quite funny. That did tickle me. Is that one? Now, I've got a couple of videos. This is a cracker. What one's that? Hang on. Okay, this is a cracker. Watch this. Finish it!
That's brilliant, isn't it?
That's brilliant. I think that's been around a bit, but that is just brilliant. Had his big chance. Oh dear, oh me. Here's one. Pyro. You think we have a problem? What was that all about? Jesus Christ. Now that has got to be a health risk. I know people go on about it, but that one's got to be, surely. My God. Here's one more for you. No, there's no sound on this, by the way, but it's Bradford City. Oh dear!
The steward's going to throw him out.
You get 10-year ban for being on the pitch.
Can you imagine if somebody was in that smoke with a ball, they'd have picked it up in their hands and run into the net, wouldn't they? And no one would
have that pyro, man. I mean,
I don't know what was it. Back of the net.
It looked like, I don't know. It looked like right at the beginning of that video. I'm sure they've got a bonfire going, and then they'd put something on the bonfire, because there's no way you've stood there with a stick to. I'll tell you what. Let's have another look at that. And when it first starts, look along to where it comes from. No, I can't really see, but my God, mate. Absolutely mad. Absolute raving balmy, man. Right, okay, Nigel, have you got a story for us?
Yeah,
good old days. Hang on. They are the good old days. Woo-hoo.
Good old days. Yeah, it's basically going back to when we got promoted with Watford and we got to the top league, which was then a League Division 1. And, we was quite a young side, and we've been training under Tom Wally in the youth team. And Tom, back in them days, it's like, when men were men and you went in for tackles, and the harder you went in, the more the crowd roared. So Tom sort of taught us how to look after ourselves a bit, like show us studs. If they're going to come in and do, you just sort of show your studs to them, which would be sending up for offence now. So obviously, first year in the first division, the two grounds you want to play at is Anfield and Old Trafford. And I've played 41 games that year, and I've got booked 5 times, which got me a 1-match ban. And the bloody match I missed was Man United away. So I was a nasty little bugger playing on the wing. I never used to get hurt much, but only got sent off once in my career. That was against Steve Gritt at Charlton. But it was okay. I made up for it the next season. I scored on the first day of the season, in the last minute of the game, match of the day against Ron Atkinson. So made up for it. But just going back to the old days, like I said, sort of a winger getting booked 5 times. It's unheard of over here in this day and age now, isn't it? Really, you don't get wingers and forwards getting booked.
I was at that game.
What, the Old Trafford one?
I was at that game at Old Trafford, 1982.
I mean, you're talking about Plan B again. What did he do? He sent on George Wiley for that free kick. So we actually had 5 forwards on the pitch at that time, and we got that goal out of it. So that's where you're going, well, where's Plan B coming with Southgate again? Yeah. I know we keep going back to it, but that was what we done. We got the equaliser in the last kick of the game.
I remember about that game, because that was when we had the little terracing pens, and I think we had 2 of them. I think I paid £1 to get in. Something stupid. And 3 of us had gone up on the train from Milton Keynes for that game. This very game you're on about that you missed all them years ago. And 3 of us had gone up on the train. And I mean, this is really early doors, 82. I think I was still at school, maybe just left school. Left school. No. Anyway, I can't remember now. But I remember going up there, and we went in this boozer, and mate, we got in there full of Manx, mate. Happy days. I was as good as gold. Bought us drinks and everything. Got to about, I don't know, 1:30. At this point, I'm pretty pissed. And these lads go, right, Tom, you better go now. And I'm like, well, why? It's been really great in here. We don't want to go yet, He said, no, right, the London train's pulled in 10 minutes ago. They'll be here in 5 minutes. You need to go. And he was referring to the Cockney Reds. If they'd found us in the pub, we would have got a good hiding. So there was only 3 of us who were quite young. We thought, yeah, all right, we'll go.
It was about 2,000 fans at that game, I remember, because it was our fans were in a little corner, weren't they? And
we were just off. I mean, this is sad that I remember this from all these years ago. We're talking 1981, 82 here.
I mean, when I scored, it was like 50,000 Man United fans just went quiet, and you could just hear the Watford fans going mad in that corner. It was brilliant.
But yeah, madness. Okay, highlights of the weekend's games. Nigel, got any highlight for you?
No,
Derby got an all right result, didn't they?
Derby, yeah, they're up to 6th, and Watford, they were lucky to get a point, but they're 4th in the league at the moment. But I'm just obsessed now with the progress that Newcastle are making. I'm actually enjoying watching their game. So yeah, 3rd in the league now. The
3rd, yeah, and the 1-0 win against Chelsea. It sort of cements that these guys have got to be taken seriously, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're digging results. Last year, the year before that, there's no way they'd have dug out a 1-0 win against Chelsea. But sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to grind out the wins, and they're playing well at the moment. I think so long as they don't get injuries, they keep the same side and the consistency, there'll be a team up there, and you never know what's going to happen in the next few months coming up after the World Cup.
Isn't this sort of what we talked about last week about Newcastle, wasn't it? And I think, Greg, you were saying that, not having the strength in depth, and maybe this break will be good for them as long as Wilson doesn't go out and, well, will he get a game anyway under Southgate? We don't know. But obviously they've lost him to England. But, interesting. I mean, highlight for you, Greg?
Probably a couple from the Championship. So obviously Burnley flying, and they won their derby against Blackburn today. So they're back top of the league, and obviously
big win, massive win.
Fair play to Company. He's gone in there and he's sort of changed Burnley's identity a little bit. And you got young players, and you got to give him credit, haven't you? I don't think anyone would have expected Burnley to have. When Watford, Burnley, and Norwich got relegated, everyone said the one team that will probably struggle will be Burnley, and they've completely gone against that, and they've done really well. So, and the other one was just West Brom as well. They've got that obviously struggling at the bottom, and they got their new manager in, and they've won 3 on the bounce. So they've looked like they've turned a corner. So yeah, a couple from the Championship.
I'll just say Burnley were my pick at the start of the season when we was picking the teams.
Oh, was they?
Well, I said the same thing as you. I said, look, you play under a manager like Pep Guardiola. If you don't learn stuff from him and take it with you when you go into management, then there's something wrong. He's done it down. Arteta's done it down at Arsenal.
Mind you, I've got a different one to that though. So obviously, great point of what you make. But then if you look at Gary Neville, he obviously didn't learn much from Fergie, did he?
Well, no. But there are players that don't make money. I mean, John Barnes got sacked at Celtic. Come on, he must be bad if he gets sacked at Celtic. I mean, that's like playing Sunday League football up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. The Rangers and Celtic fans won't like hearing that.
Greg, did you have to mention West Brom?
Why?
I don't know. That's what it says on here. Greg, did you have to mention West Brom?
Someone said it.
Yeah. Sorry. No, that's what someone said. Yeah.
Oh, right. I see one of the comments. Yeah. I don't know. In my head, I was just, when you asked the question, I was just trying to think of what stood out when I looked at the results. And yeah, them two teams probably, a bit like Borough, Carrick at Borough as well. I could have said him, obviously he'd gone in there and they look like they turned a bit of a corner. Middlesbrough as well. So, they won at Norwich yesterday. So, both them two teams were struggling and they both sort of turned corners under new managers. So
it's like you say, though, you only got to put a run of wins together. And, I'm looking at the league now with the Championship. You've got Birmingham, 13th in the league on 28 points. Millwall is 6th in the league on 31.
Championship's mad.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like,
it is.
West Brom with another 2 games and they could be up there.
Yeah.
It's mad, yeah.
It is absolutely balmy. When I was doing the match day live thing yesterday, I went through it and it's like, I think it's about 8 points separating like the just above relegation into playoffs. You know, and anyone can beat anyone in that league.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been proven time and time again. You know, so but yeah, Ben, have you guys been watching World Cup Italia 90 series on Channel 4? If you haven't, you should. It's brilliant. You know, I'm good friends with Boatsy from Nottingham Forest, Gary Clark, who's on the show, and he just kept fair play, been on here a couple of times, and he did keep letting me know about it. I've watched first one, and I've yet to catch up on the rest. And yeah, it's all right. But my big criticism of it on the first one, I'm going to be honest with you, was they were talking about the Luton Mill, because I think there's a lot of it's to do with Italia 90 change football. I'll be interested to understand why that statement is relevant, how it changed football, because that's what I'll look forward to seeing when I do catch up with the show, Ben. But my first criticism on the first show, which I did watch, was obviously they went like everyone else does. It's all about 1985, and they go to the Millwall Luton game at Luton Town at Kenilworth Road, and they're going through. They're talking about it in great detail, and they're showing all these snapshots of the ground, right? And I think it's Ayresome Park. It ain't Kenilworth Road at all. And I'm like, if I couldn't get my head around it, whether Luton won't let them on. But that was a criticism, because I think if you're going to do it properly. And that, for me, was talk about what happened at Kenilworth Road. I think it was Ayresome Park they were showing. I could be very wrong, and someone correct me if they picked up on it too. But they were definitely showing a ground that had nothing to do with Kenilworth Road, and they were going around different parts of it and talking about what happened. I'm like, this ain't real. That's not Luton. So that's a criticism of the show on one, but I will watch the rest of it and see where we go from there. Let's have a look. What else we got on here? Okay, they beat my team, but
that's why you said it. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Leeds and Spurs was the highlight for me. Great game, mate. You know what? Obviously, I was covering Match Day Live yesterday on the radio, and Leeds took the lead 3 times in that game. It was like
Jesus Christ,
immense, and I just and in the end, 4-3. Tottenham got a habit of leaving it to the end of a game when they're in trouble to raise their game. Would you say? Is that a fair criticism?
Yeah, I think so. Everyone's saying they're a second half team, aren't they? So, yeah, a bit of a weird one. But I haven't seen any highlights at all, so I've not seen.
Cracking game, those 7 goals.
Yeah.
You see any of it, Nige?
Yeah, I watched all the goals. It's a great match if you're a neutral.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just Ben Cliffs hit the nail on the head about the championship. He said incredibly inconsistent. And we've just banged on about the fact that there's no teams are consistently good at the moment. Even like I said, going at Watford 4th in the league, it was a good point. But I watched the highlights, and Bristol City
didn't have a shot on goal, did we?
I think the first shot was like the 80-something minute. But to be honest, Bristol City, I've not seen the stats, but they controlled the game. Don't get me wrong, but I think Bachmann only had 1 save to make himself, or 1 good save anyway. Like they didn't create much, to be fair. It was just an all-round shit game. It was really boring. No real goal.
It's the fact that Watford aren't creating much.
Yeah, we left Score and
I weren't bothered about. Yeah, as a Watford fan, I weren't bothered about Bristol City playing well and creating goals. I want Watford to show consistency where they're going week in and week out and putting the performances in. And it don't mean you're going to win every game. You're going to lose the odd game where you're thinking we've had 90% of the game. But I want the consistency where the fans are going away saying we played well, we should have won it, we had enough chances. But you look at that match yesterday, and they didn't have any chances.
Yeah, just a quick one. I'm always quite sort of probably negative after the full-time whistle, and then I reflect on it a bit later and think actually, and I think that Bilic has been there 11 games now. That was his first draw. Okay, he's won a few, he's lost a few. Some really good performances, Stoke, Luton, etc., but a few poor performances as well. But now he gets his month with the players. We're only losing Sarr to the World Cup.
Yeah.
He's going to have a mini pre-season. And I think really he's come in and 11 games and he's left us in, we 5th or 4th going into the international break, the World Cup. Yeah. So that for me, I'm all right with that, to be fair.
Yeah,
I'm okay. And then hopefully the consistency, not just from us, but obviously other teams in the league, sort of starts to kick on after the World Cup,
Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking him for what I think he's done brilliant.
Yeah.
I just think the Watford squad are a good squad and we're not getting the full potential out of them. Like you can make excuses for other teams. But, Watford have come down from the Premier with a Premier League squad.
Yeah.
And they should be showing more consistency with the squad that they've got than they are at the moment. But they dug out a point yesterday, which probably 6 weeks ago, they wouldn't have dug that point
100%,
out.
100%. And do you know what? Obviously, just changing. Obviously, you mentioned about the teams who got relegated. You look at Burnley as well, and you look at Norwich. Burnley are a team, like I said earlier, that have kind of transformed completely. New manager, they've brought in loads of young players, so that technically now they haven't really got a Premier League squad. They a lot of players left. Whereas ourselves and Norwich have kind of got a similar squad to last year. Lost a few, but nothing major. And us two are the two that Burnley are the team that are doing the best out of the three. It's pretty strange, really. But like we said earlier, it's a weird league, isn't it? And anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah, and I'm going to stop the conversation there because I don't want people thinking this is a Watford chat room.
That's why I brought up Norwich and Burnley.
We're not. This is probably just so happens that some of our other presenters are not available today. So yes, all right, we are slightly yellow here. But anyway, Stephen Parton said what a great game it was the other weekend when Leeds beat Bournemouth. Leeds United, are they? What do you reckon? Are they doing all right? Are they better doing? I mean, I thought they could be proper up against it. Are they doing better than what we thought?
I don't know. I'm still, the jury's out on the manager for me. I don't think.
Yeah. I agree.
You haven't managed in England. You've come straight from the USA over here. He shows a lot of enthusiasm. He gets carried away on the sidelines, but the Bournemouth situation. Why don't you just give that guy the job? He's a manager.
Yeah.
I mean, what else has he got to do now? Like he's turned that side around. So I don't know why they don't just. They're on about getting another manager in, aren't they? They're going for Bielsa. They're on about going for Bielsa.
Apparently, he was interviewed, wasn't he? Yeah.
Come on, the guy can't even speak English.
Yeah. Well, so it would be very harsh on Gary O'Neill if they pulled the plug on him because look at their last two results as well. Like they played Everton midweek in the cup and beat them 4-1, was it? And then they played them again yesterday and beat them 3-0. And talking of struggling teams, Everton are definitely won. They're in a mess, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the footage of. Did you see the video footage of their fans at the end of the game? One of the Everton players chucked a shirt in the crowd, and the crowd
threw it back.
Yeah.
I see that. Yeah, they threw it back. Now, what about the fella moving over from Luton to Southampton?
Ooh.
I don't like him. I think he's.
I don't like him, but I think he's a very good manager, and I think he's going to do well. I really do.
Stoke, though, didn't he? I mean, he went to Stoke and he had a nightmare there.
Yeah, but you say that, Nigel. But then look at Eddie Howe. He left Bournemouth, went to Burnley, didn't work out, and look at him now.
But Eddie Howe had managed at a top level. This guy has never managed at a top level.
True.
He went from Luton to Stoke and then back to Luton. So who's the mastermind at Southampton that thinks he's going to sort the problems out they got down at Southampton?
Oh, it's definitely a risk.
Yeah, Ben's just put up their worst manager in Stoke's history.
Yeah.
Man, that's a statement, isn't it? And he shouted it. Worst manager in Stoke's history.
I just think there's something about him. I don't know. And I don't particularly want him to succeed because I don't like him. I think he's moaning every week and whatever.
Danny.
There's something about him that I think he might do all right.
Coolest fool. Seek offenders meet. Okay, no idea what you want about there, fella. But anyway, Ben, for me, I can't get used to an American managing in the Premier League. Hearing Jesse March being proud of the two American lads getting picked for the USA team for the World Cup. He didn't call it a squad, he called it a roster. And he called extra time, overtime. I get what you're saying, mate. But trust me, these Americans in every club, you can imagine that's going to give it a couple of years, mate. we'll be calling it soccer. The way it's going, man, honestly. Oh, that's funny. But okay, we're nearly there, guys. So we've seen all these managerial movements, and it's been a busy time. What's happening with Sean Dyche? Why is he not back in the game?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wants too much money.
I mean, maybe he's been offered stuff, but he's turned it down.
Maybe he doesn't want to. Yeah.
Doesn't he live up your way, Gary? And he's sort of Northampton based? Because I know
he is somewhere around here. Yeah.
And when he was Burnley manager, he didn't move, did he? He just travelled up there every week. He didn't relocate. So maybe that's got something to do with it as well.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I mean, every job that comes up, his name crops up. Yeah. Every job.
Guys, he's waiting for the England job.
I like Dyche. I think he's a great manager for a side that ain't got a lot of money and want to stay in the Prem, I guess, a bit like what Burnley were. But I can't see him being the England manager.
No.
Can't see him being. Well, I hear what you're saying. Maybe he is, but can't see it happening.
I think he was linked with the Southampton job, wasn't he? And a lot of people tipped him to get the Saints job, but obviously it never happened.
So maybe he's waiting for the Everton job.
Well,
true.
Yeah. All right, we're pretty much near enough there now. I'm going to get last comment here about Nathan Jones, because Ben obviously likes him very clearly. Nathan Jones is a good manager when he has no pressure on him at all. He had no pressure at Luton at all. Which is true, he didn't really, did he? So well exceeding their expectation, let's be honest. They're just a small club. Well exceeding expectation, and they're doing really well, to be fair. But that means manager isn't under pressure because they're way above what their expectation levels were. So he'll be a massive flop at Saints. He'll have James Ward-Prowse playing left wing. Back in no time. Okay, right. Okay, let's go final comments, chaps. Nigel, final comments from you.
Final comments about what?
Anything.
Anything? No, I'm just. I've enjoyed the show today. Actually, it's been a good laugh. It's flowed today because we've had a lot of things to talk about. So
we've actually. Yeah, we've crammed a lot in, and we are going to finish.
And we're getting a lot of feedback on the message board now, which is always good. You know, that gives you more to talk about. So thanks guys for coming on and joining us.
Yeah, definitely. It wouldn't be the same without you, folks. It really wouldn't. Greg, final comments.
Obviously, World Cup starts this time next week. So I think first game's Qatar, Ecuador in it. So obviously when we do the show next week, we'll have that to talk about if anyone watches it. I don't know how appealing that's going to be, but yeah.
Anyway, for me, I've been prostituted out to go to Qatar to support Senegal. I'll be over there tomorrow playing my trumpet, waving my Senegal flag because I'm a prostitute. Sorry about the rant, guys, but oh my God. That really did hammer the nail in the coffin for this ridiculous World Cup, because that's exactly what it is. The most least. I'll tear up. Finishing this, we'll have a chat over the coming weeks. Just keep an eye out for me, guys. Now, it used to be that you would see hundreds of flags all over the houses. Even I used to have a huge England flag over my house.
Yeah.
Right. I'd be interested to see how many we see this time round. Keep an eye out, and we'll do that. Flag report, we call it, yeah? Flag report. Are we seeing the levels of flags out in the houses like we normally do?
Just put them cushions in the window, Gaz, and see how many windows get put in.
Oh, yeah.
Cushions in the background. Stick them in the window and see how many windows you got left.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Okay, that's it then, folks. It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
See you later.
See you later, folks. See you next week. Catch us again, 6:30, Proper Football Live.